If I could just get everyone to sign in at the back of the room, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'll wait until everyone's finished signing in. All right. Okay. Should I wait a couple minutes for that too? Should wait for that as well. Good morning. I'd like to call this special meeting of the West Whiteland Township Board of Supervisors to order at 10:04 a.m. on Friday, February 13th, 2026. This meeting has been duly advertised and posted in accordance with the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act. The purpose of this special meeting is to conduct a hearing pursuant to Section 206-53 PS 10206 of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. This hearing concerns the proposed removal of Planning Commission members Anita Nardone. Ms. Nardone was provided written notice of the proposed removal and has exercised her right under the Municipalities Planning Code to request this hearing. This proceeding is personnel related in nature and is not a regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Public comment will be taking in a few minutes, and we need to keep that as short as possible, within 3 minutes if it's okay. The hearing is open to the public for observation only. If there's any public comment on this meeting agenda or non-agenda items at this time, this is a formal proceeding. All testimony and remarks shall be directed through the chair and shall remain relevant to the matter under consideration.
We're going to pause for public comment at this time.
That's what I figured, right? So, do we have any public comment? Okay. So at this time, I will turn the matter over to the Township Solicitor, Alex, to conduct the hearing and outline the applicable procedures.
Sure. At first, I would like a motion and a second of the board to open the hearing.
Okay, I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the purposes of the record, my name is Alex Baumler. I'm the Township Solicitor for West Whiteland Township. I will be facilitating this hearing on behalf of the Board of Supervisors this morning. As Mr. Chairman has already reiterated, this hearing is being conducted pursuant to Section 206 of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, which permits the governing body, in this case the Township Board of Supervisors, to remove a Planning Commission member for malfeasance, misfeasance, nonfeasance in office, or other just cause, following written notice and the opportunity for a hearing. As this is an out-of-the-ordinary hearing, I guess a little background or explanation for how the hearing will proceed will be necessary. So the purpose of today's hearing is to create a complete record upon which the board may base its decision. Procedure for this hearing will be as follows. The presentation of the basis for the proposed removal by the township, the opportunity for Ms. Anita Nardone to respond, present evidence, and offer testimony in support of her position, questions from the members of the board in response, and then finally the closing of the evidentiary record. This is a formal proceeding. All testimony will be directed through the chair of the Board of Supervisors. Only evidence relevant to the stage grounds for removal will be considered. If testimony is provided by any person, I will first administer an oath as this proceeding is being recorded. Ms. Nardone will be given a full and fair opportunity to respond to the matters presented. Following the close of record, the board may deliberate. Any official action will occur in a public session. Before we proceed, are there any preliminary procedural matters that need to be addressed? All right, hearing none, we will begin with the presentation on the basis of the proposed removal. And at first, I will move 6 exhibits into of the township into the record. And then I'm going to read specifically. Yeah, you guys are good. The hearing has begun. As I said, I'm going to move 6 township exhibits into the record for codification purposes, and I will be reading 3 of those verbatim. So I am marking Exhibit T1 as a copy of the proof of the advertisement of this meeting that was published in the daily local newspaper twice, occurring on January 31st, 2026 and February 5th, 2026. I'm going to mark Exhibit T2 as a letter that is dated February 4th, 2026 to Ms. Nardone, noticing the hearing date. Exhibit T3 is going to be a letter from West Whiteland Township to Ms. Nardone, dated November 18th, 2025, noticing her removal from the Planning Commission. And as I said, I'm going to read this one verbatim. Dear Anita, As we discussed during our phone call on November 11th, the Board of Supervisors has determined that your appointment to the West Whiteland Township Planning Commission is concluded, 15 days effective from the date of this formal notice. After careful consideration, the board has identified concerns regarding alignment with the township's planning goals, policies, and procedures. Specifically, the board has determined that your actions, including the independent meeting with a developer's consultants outside of the established planning commission and township review process, are not consistent with the coordinated, transparent, and policy-driven approach required for the township's land use planning functions. In addition, the board has identified a conflict of interest arising from the nature of your role on the planning commission, which serves as an advisory body to the Board of Supervisors. As a member of this body, it is essential that all interactions with applicants, developers, and other parties be conducted through the formal process established by the township. Independent engagement with developers or their consultants outside publicly noticed meetings not only compromises the transparency of the required advisory bodies, but may also create the appearance of preferential access or influence. Such circumstances undermine the integrity of the Commission's recommendations to the board and diminish public trust in the fairness of the land development review process. Under the authority granted to the Board of Supervisors pursuant to the provisions of Section 10206 of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, permitting the governing body to remove members of the municipal planning agencies for cause and when deemed necessary to protect the public interest, the board has concluded that removal prior to the end of your current term, which is scheduled to expire on December 31st, 2026, is warranted. This action is taken to ensure consistency with the township's procedures, to maintain integrity of the Planning Commission's advisory function, and to protect the fairness and transparency expected in the land development review process. We want to sincerely thank you for your time, service, and contributions to the community during your tenure on the Planning Commission. The board recognizes and appreciates the effort you have dedicated to this volunteer role. Should you have any questions regarding this decision, you may direct them to me. Thank you again for your service to West Whiteland Township. Sincerely, Pamela Garral-Bear, Township Manager. Am I going too fast? Exhibit T4 is going to be a letter dated December 2nd, 2025 from Ms. Anita Nardone to West Whiteland Township, formally requesting this MPC hearing. Exhibit T5 is email correspondence, which is a chain beginning September 5th, 2025. And again, I'm going to read this verbatim. It consists of a letter from email transmission from Ms. Nardone to Township Director of Zoning and Planning, John Weller. And the subject matter of this email states, September 18th, tour with Matt Edmond and other. Hello, John. I just confirmed with Matt Edmond for our lunch and then a tour of the Exton Mall site for September 18th. I figure an hour for our lunch and then maybe a meeting place for the tour and plan review. We would love to have you join us for the tour. I also wanted to let you know that Mary Frances McGarity reached out to me. She has had meetings with Peter Abrams, and at the later meeting, after the MP approval, MP stands for Master Plan Approval, Peter wanted MF to get in touch with me, Ray, potential grant opportunities that I had mentioned in my remarks. He is coordinating the work with CCEDC in getting Peter additional economic assistance. I sent her my Word doc of my remarks for her reference. I also sent her a link to the Brandywine flood study draft and the specific pages where, quote, implementation grants are listed. Parentheses, I did that kind of section work for my work on plans at Simone Collins, end parentheses. I will copy you on my email to the Stormwater Task Force through Wyatt and Nick S. at SSM. Ray, my comment at the PC meeting on Kirkland. Other, scenic road designation ID, Idea, question mark. Next bullet point, I'd like an overview of what the township is currently seeking grants for, so that anything we might consider is in line with the priorities that the township is looking at. Parentheses, Mary Frances and I both said that having Matt Edmond be knowledgeable about this and become an advocate for us, some of the ecological recreation trail stuff, as well as the economic stuff, is important. Does the township have grant funding priorities, aside from Exton Park, established for the next 5 years? Where does the current draft of the comprehensive plan live? Is that on our website somewhere? I'd like to be able to see it. Thanks, John. Signed, Anita. In the response of Mr. Weller, which is dated Friday, September 5th, 2025 at 2:46 p.m. to that email. Hi, Anita. Unfortunately, September 18th is the week that we're at Cape May, so I'm not available to walk through the mall with you, which is a bit frustrating, as I would very much like to connect with Matt Edmond. Regarding the bullet points, I can tell you that we haven't had time to investigate anything about scenic road designations. The other items, I'll have to refer you to Pam and Justin. Since Justin is the capital projects manager, he deals with a lot of grants, and he's also quarterbacking the comprehensive plan rewrite. Parentheses, the first draft should be available soon. Pam would be the most knowledgeable about priorities, but I know that sanitary sewers are getting a lot of attention. As we've stated before, grants are wonderful, but some staff person still has to manage them, as well as the project they're funding, and we're all stretched pretty thin. Regards, John Weller. Lastly, we will move T6 into the record. This is an affidavit that has been signed by Supervisor Raj Compadre, Pamela Garral-Bear, Township Manager, Jennifer Keller, Operations Manager, and Patrick Gorman, Assistant Township Planner. I will read this one verbatim too. We, the undersigned, hereby make this affidavit to memorialize statements and observations made during the Planning Commission meeting in 2025 regarding the Exton Town Center Master Plan application for the mall redevelopment. Attendees, the Planning Commission, Supervisor Raj Compadre, Developer ARD Development, Developers Council Mark Kaplan, Architect Seth Shapiro. 2, statement of facts. Chair Anita Nardone expressed her appreciation for the opportunity to meet with the developers, ARD, representatives on site at the mall. Purpose of the site visit was to review the property and discuss the town center master plan application outside of a formal planning commission meeting. Chair Nardone thanked the developer and their team for providing information regarding the site and the intended project, acknowledging the productive discussion regarding the proposed plans. Staff members Patrick Gorman, Jennifer Keller, Pamela Garral-Bear, and Supervisor Raj Compadre were present and witnessed the statements made by Chair Nardone, ARD, along with their counsel Mark Kaplan and architect Seth Shapiro, were present to provide input and answer questions regarding the developmental proposal. This affidavit is made to document the meeting and the statements therein. Signed, the parties that I've listed. That concludes the township's exhibits that we're going to move into the record. At this time, I will turn it over to counsel for Ms. Nardone. Present your case in chief.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to have a hearing for Ms. Nardone this morning. Yes, my name is Jeffrey Burke from the law firm of McElroy Harvey on behalf of Anita Nardone. At this time, Ms. Nardone we will call Ms. Nardone as a witness.
I do.
Would you please state your name for the record?
My name is Anita Hoffner Nardone.
Okay, and Ms. Nardone,
My last name is spelled Nardone. My middle name Hoffner, Hoffner.
Ms. Nardone, you understand that this is a proceeding that to address your role and potential removal from the Township, West Whiteland Township Planning Commission, correct?
I do.
Okay, so naturally, that means you have been a member of the Planning Commission, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Could you just give a brief statement as to when you joined the commission and how you joined it?
Certainly. First attended rezoning meetings in the year, I believe, 2013-14. As a resident, interested resident, met John Weller and was invited to serve on the Traffic Impact Advisory Commission. After that, I believe in the year 2015 or so, I was invited by Mr. Weller to make application as a volunteer to the Planning Commission, which I did, appeared before the supervisors in an interview and began service then. Ended service with my first term in December of 2020. Was invited back by the current chair in September, October of 2024. Again, reappeared before the supervisors and was accepted onto the board and had served up until October of this year, November of this year, 2025.
Thank you. And could you just give a brief statement as to what your professional training and education is that might relate to your role on the Planning Commission?
Certainly. I'm a professional civil engineer in the state of Pennsylvania. I worked in the field of land development and stormwater management for consultants, most recently for a landscape architecture firm. My area of interest, of course, was land development and how that works. I felt that was a good match, so when I was approached, it seemed like a great way to serve the township.
Thank you. And a binder of exhibits on behalf of Ms. Nardone has been provided to the board and to Mr. Baumler. I note that there is some redundancy. We have an exhibit marked as Nardone Exhibit 1, which is the November 18th, 2025 notice of removal correspondence. Just for sake of consistency, I'm going to just make reference to the document as Nardone 1. However, it's the same document. Ms. Nardone, do you recognize this document?
I do.
Okay, and it appears to be the November 18th, 2025 correspondence addressed to you from West Whiteland Township, sent by Township Manager Ms. Goral-Bear, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you receive this letter?
I did receive this letter via email on the day that it was dated, November 18th at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, and does this appear to be an accurate copy of the letter you received?
It does. Okay,
we're going to offer that as Nardone Exhibit 1. So, Ms. Nardone, the first paragraph of this correspondence states, I quote, as discussed during our phone call of November 11th, the Board of Supervisors has determined that your appointment of to the West Whiteland Township Planning Commission is concluded 15 days effective from the date of this formal notice. There's a reference to a phone call on November 11th. Did you have a conversation with Ms. Goral-Bear at that time?
I did.
And what was discussed?
Pam had called me to inform me that I was being removed, or my term had been ended based on conversations that the supervisors had had. I was not in alignment. I believe the words were township, goals and policies, and that was it, I think, of that phone call.
Okay, and then the second paragraph, the notice to that point states, the board has identified concerns regarding alignment with the township's planning goals, policies, and procedures. The notice continues, the board has determined that your actions, including the independent meeting with a developer's consultants outside of the established planning commission and township review process, are not consistent with the coordinated, transparent, and policy-driven approach required for the township's land use planning functions. Did I read that right?
You did.
Okay. From your review of this letter, or from what you recall from your conversation with Ms. Goral-Bear, was there a specific goal or policy or procedure identified to you that you allegedly violated?
There was not in the phone call, and when I received this letter, it's vague. I don't know specifically what goals, policies, and procedures they're speaking of.
In the course of your time on the Planning Commission, were you ever trained on any, quote, policies required for the township's land use planning functions?
I do not recall any such training on those
In the course of your time on the Planning Commission, were you ever trained on any procedures required for the township's land use planning functions?
No formal training procedures, just information supplied by John Weller, who is the liaison, of course, to the Planning Commission.
And when you say information provided, was that orally, as in conversation?
Correct. To the commission, reminding us of certain things, correct.
Understood. Were you ever provided any code of conduct that governed your role on the Planning Commission?
I did not, no.
To your knowledge, did the township have any code of conduct that governed your role on the Planning Commission?
To my knowledge, I don't believe so, no.
The notice continues in the third paragraph. The board has identified a conflict of interest arising from the nature of your role on the Planning Commission, which serves as an advisory body to the Board of Supervisors. Did I read that right?
Yes, you did.
So there's a reference to a conflict of interest. Are you aware of any conceivable conflicts of interest you have ever had during your tenure on the commission that might be what is referenced here?
I have no idea what that means at all, no.
Have you ever had any financial interests in plans, projects, applications, or anything else that has come before the Planning Commission during your tenure?
No.
Have you ever had any personal interests in projects, plans, or applications, or anything else that has come before the Planning Commission during your tenure?
No.
Have you ever had any professional interests in projects, plans, or applications, or any other matter that has come before the Planning Commission during your tenure?
No.
Outside of this letter, has anyone ever communicated to you that any such conflicts of interest have ever existed?
No.
If someone had raised a genuine conflict of interest, what would you consider to be the appropriate course of action for you?
Appropriate course of action is to recuse yourself from anything that the Planning Commission would discuss for that application.
But that discussion never happened, correct?
No, I never recused myself from anything in my service to the township here.
In both the second and third paragraphs, there's references to an independent meeting with the developer's consultants outside of the established Planning Commission and township review process, and also independent engagement with developers where they're consultants outside publicly noticed meetings. Are you aware of any meeting with any consultants of developers that you attended?
Without it being very specific here, I can only think of one possible meeting that was outside of this hall in the Planning Commission, as a Planning Commission meeting.
Okay, I'm going to now reference what has been identified as Nardone Exhibit 2. Ms. Nardone, do you recognize this document?
I do.
And this appears to be an email chain between yourself and John Weller, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Weller is the Director of Planning and Zoning for the township, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And having reviewed this document, does this appear to be an accurate depiction of your email communications with Mr. Weller?
It does, yes.
So we will offer this as Nardone Exhibit 2. So, Ms. Nardone, this being an email chain, the earlier communication is at the bottom. If you review the earlier email communication, there's an email dated April 8th, 2025 at 7:21 a.m. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay. And the subject of the meeting is Abrams/Kaplan meeting, Wednesday, 9 a.m., correct?
Correct.
Okay. So there appears to be, and just for the record, the highlighting on this document was not originally in the email. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and I'll state for the record that the highlighting for these exhibits was applied by counsel for the purpose of facilitating our testimony today. Ms. Nardone, I'm just going to read the highlighted language in the initial email. Good morning, John. I got your voicemail yesterday and glad you are okay with me attending the meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I tried to keep my phone call with Mark short yesterday, not wanting him to drag me into comments about several things that he brought up. I believe that might mean political climate with the supervisors, changes to the plan, etc. Did I read that right?
You did.
Okay. Ms. Nardone, to your recollection, could you describe the sequence of events that's being described in this email?
Yes, my recollection is that I had received a call from Mark Kaplan describing a meeting with township officials to discuss the plan. I believe at this point there had been a public presentation of their master plan application. I always am concerned about someone reaching out to me in my position. I checked in with John Weller regarding the invitation that had been received. and questioned whether it was appropriate that I attend the meeting that the developer had mentioned on April the 9th.
Okay. And to be clear, to flesh out that testimony, this communication you had with Mr. Kaplan, and Mr. Kaplan was legal counsel for Abrams, is that right?
He is.
Okay. Who initiated that communication, you or Mr. Kaplan?
Mr. Kaplan.
Okay. And the communication back from Mr. Weller, in substance, confirmed for you that Mr. Weller believed it was okay for you to attend this meeting. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And there has been an exhibit introduced this morning, Exhibit T6, that's an affidavit, though I would note for the record, it states signatures. There are no signatures on the copy I have, nor is it notarized. It's also not dated, and it references a meeting in 2025, but does not specify the date. Regardless, the statement of facts in this represented affidavit communicate that there was a meeting, quote, on site at the mall. Did you ever meet with any developers from Abrams or anyone else on site at the mall?
I never met with any representatives of the developers team or the developer at the site of the mall.
Okay, so we have communications referring back to Nardone Exhibit 2 about a meeting, correct?
Correct.
Where did that meeting take place?
That meeting took place on April 9th, 2025 in the conference room downstairs in this building.
Okay. Did any township representative instruct you not to attend that meeting?
No township representative instructed me to not attend that meeting.
Okay, who attended that meeting?
My recollection, it was Seth Shapiro of Barton Partners, Teresa McKay, who was the landscape architect with the team of Barton, myself, John Weller, Patrick Gorman, Pam Gorel-Bear, Brian Dunn, and Mark Kaplan.
Okay. To your knowledge, what was the purpose of this meeting?
The purpose, I believe, of the meeting was to advance the applicant's desire to move through the master plan process by identifying all concerns that the township may have. The staff, the township supervisor, the township manager, of course, and I was invited in my role, I believe, as a civil engineer and chair of the Planning Commission to help advance the concerns of the township so that the developer was clear. The developer and his team were clear.
Okay. To your knowledge, do you know whether the April 9th meeting was publicly noticed?
I do not know, but I believe that it was not publicly noticed.
Okay. But to confirm your testimony, even though it was not publicly noticed, other representatives of the township were present, in addition to Mr. Weller, Ms. Gorel-Bear, who was the individual who sent you the notice of removal, and one member of the Board of Supervisors, Mr. Dunn, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you contribute anything during this meeting?
We did. We were discussing the elements that were under discussion for revisions to the plan, contributed comments probably on placement and density and things that are important to progressing a plan. I always approach plans because I'm a geek regarding stormwater management, open space, ecological restoration, things that I believed were important, and had heard, from members of the public who would speak at the public hearings for the Planning Commission. So I did offer input to that and listen to the exchange that went on that morning.
Okay. While you were attending this meeting, did any township representative communicate to you that your attending that April 9th meeting was inappropriate?
No.
After the April 9th, 2025 meeting, did you receive any communications from any representatives of Abrams about further meetings of the mall redevelopment?
Yes. On the morning of May the 2nd, 2025, I came back, I believe, from Jim and heard a message from Mark Kaplan on my phone, seeing if I could get together with them for what I believed was a continuation, and it's noted in the email, with Pam, Patrick, John, Supervisor Dunn. Could I attend that meeting? That morning, it was at 9 o'clock. So the email that I had received, I guess it wasn't a phone message, I'm sorry, it was an email received from Mark Kaplan at about 7 in the morning, inviting me to that meeting, which I could not attend and did not attend.
Thank you. I'm going to now direct your attention and the board's attention to what has been marked as Nardone Exhibit 3. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
Okay, and this is an email chain from May 2nd of 2025, correct?
Correct.
And is this the email communications that you were just referring to?
That is the email communication that I'm referring to on May the 2nd, correct?
And having reviewed this document, does this appear to be an accurate copy of the email exchange?
It is.
Okay, we will offer this as Nardone Exhibit 3. So to be clear, did you attend this meeting?
I did not attend that meeting.
Did you discuss this request to attend the meeting with John Weller?
I did not. I copied him on the email, but I did not discuss that with him by phone.
Did any township representative instruct you not to attend that meeting?
No township representative instructed me not to attend that meeting.
Okay. After this May email invitation, did you have any additional communications with Abrams representatives about meetings?
Yes, I received again, and I am saying this was a phone message, my previous statement regarding May 2nd. I misspoke, it was an email communication, but on July 23rd, 2025, I received a phone message from Mark requesting a callback to him, not discussing a meeting, but just could I call him back?
Okay, you know what, before we proceed to that, I just wanted to refer back to Nardone Exhibit 3, just to read into the record. So there's an email initiated first on May 2nd at 7:20 a.m. from Mr. Kaplan to you, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then on May 2nd at 8 a.m., you responded to Mr. Kaplan and CC'd on the emails. You mentioned it's John Weller, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'm just going to read the response. The highlighted language states, Seth and Mark, I'm very appreciative of this invitation. Wish I could attend. I will be on the road to a family event today and unable to attend. If appropriate, I'd like to attend future meetings. Have a good weekend. Did I read that right?
You did.
Okay, why did you say if appropriate?
If appropriate refers to my general inclination and backed up here that I reach out to township staff to request guidance on whether it is appropriate that the chair of a planning commission respond or attend the meeting. John Weller was copied on that, so that is why I say if appropriate.
So let's jump back to your testimony just a moment ago about this. It was, I believe you said a July 23rd call you received, is that right?
Correct.
I'm going to now direct your attention and the board's attention to what is marked as Nardone Exhibit 4. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
Okay. And is this, what is this document?
This document related to July 23rd is a text message between myself and John Weller. Text message, knowing how busy he is, I sometimes think that's an appropriate way to get attention on something I think is important. And I am asking John in this text message to direct again my actions on whether it's appropriate to return the call that was asked of me by Mark Kaplan.
Okay, and does this document appear to be an accurate copy of your text message communications with Mr. Weller?
It does.
Okay, so I'm just going to read the text communications now to the record. Hi, John. Sorry to bother you. I got a phone message from Mark Kaplan this afternoon asking me to give him a call. Asking me to call him. Asking for a little guidance on whether I can call him back. Trying to be careful. John's response. Thanks for checking in, Anita. I tend to think it's not a good idea. I can just hear him saying at a meeting, quote, I talked to Anita and she loves this. Close quote. But I'll confirm and get back to you. And now I see the message light flashing on my phone. And I think the bottom is cut off slightly, but I believe that states something to the effect of thanks, John. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. So,
Council, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there's no date on this text message on the exhibit. What did you say that the date of these communications?
Right. The date of the communication was July 23rd, 2025.
Thank you.
okay. So, in substance, Mr. Weller gave you the advice to not call back Mr. Kaplan. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you follow that advice?
I did follow that advice.
Other than these interactions we just went through, the April 9th meeting in the Township Building, the May 2nd email invitation to attend another Township meeting that you did not attend, and the call from Attorney Kaplan that you did not return, did you have any independent engagement with developers or their consultants outside the Planning Commission publicly noticed meetings?
I did not.
In the course of the interactions you did have, were you influenced by anyone from Abrams in a manner that impaired your objective judgment of merits or shortcomings of the Abrams application?
I was not.
Do you believe that your participation in the April 9th meeting was in the Township's interests?
I definitely believe that my attendance at the meeting on April 9th was in the Township's best interest.
Do you believe that your participation in the April 9th meeting had any positive impact on behalf of the Township with respect to this particular proposed project?
I did not have any other contact, of course, with the developer's team, design team or otherwise, but I believe in subsequent plan iterations that were submitted to the Planning Commission in my packet that there was improvement toward the desires that I hear clearly at the meeting and from the fellow commissioners.
And with any specificity, was there a particular element of the proposed project that you think your contributions may have impacted? I
felt very strongly about open space, stormwater management, floodway restoration, and the final plan that was presented to us for action did include elements where the design team took those things into consideration, and I thought that they were, beneficial to the township.
So there's also been an exhibit that's been presented this morning, marked Exhibit T5, and I'm going to place that in front of you now.
Yeah.
I believe it's been established in the record. This is an email exchange dated September 5th of 2025, and the subject of the email is September 18th, tour with Matt Edmond plus other exclamation point. And in substance, the email makes reference to, as the subject says, a tour with Matt Edmond. And just it was read into the record, but the initial email begins, "Hello, John. I just confirmed with Matt Edmond for our lunch, and then a tour of the Exton Mall site for September 18th. I figure an hour for our lunch, and then maybe we'll pick a meeting place for the tour and plan review." Did I read that right?
Yes, you did.
Who is Matt Edmond?
Matt Edmond is the current executive director of the Chester County Planning Commission.
And what's Mr. Edmond's role in development in the township?
The Chester County Planning Commission also must review plans of a certain size in West Whiteland Township, so his staff would review plans and applications related to that.
Okay, to be clear, was Mr. Edmond a representative of any developer?
No.
Was he an employee or an actual developer himself?
No, he is not.
Okay. Who, to your recollection, first of all, did this meeting at the mall site occur?
This meeting began as a personal lunch date with Matt. We've known each other for many years, and he had reached out to me. I took that and said, hey, we have sent plans to the township. If you've never seen them all, I'll drive you around. Okay.
So if I'm understanding, yourself and Mr. Edmond took this tour, is that right?
Correct.
Did any representatives or anyone on behalf of the, quote, developer, Abrams, attend this?
No.
Okay. And the Exton Mall site is open to the public, right?
Correct.
Okay. Is the potential redevelopment of the Exton Mall site a significant project for the township?
Probably the most significant redevelopment project that the West Whiteland Township would ever consider. Yes.
Okay. So did you believe that your role as a chair of the Planning Commission, given the significance of this project, that it was appropriate for you to be taking a particular interest in the redevelopment project?
Absolutely.
And just to confirm, you had a communication with, again, Mr. Weller, a director for the township, and he was aware that you were anticipating doing this tour, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and it appears that he communicated back that he was not available because he was going to be in Cape May to walk through the mall. However, did Mr. Weller in this communication or in any other communication indicate to you that there was anything inappropriate about you or touring the mall with Mr. Edmond?
He did not.
Since you received the notice letter indicating that you were to be removed from your position on the Planning Commission, have you had a chance to inquire with Mr. Weller regarding whether you're attending the meeting with Abrams on the mall redevelopment was appropriate from his perspective?
We've not spoken about that. I have stated this when I was first presented that letter at the public portion of the following Planning Commission meeting. But no, we did not speak at length about that.
Okay. It seems pretty clear from the sequence of events here that you relied on Mr. Weller in your role on the Planning Commission. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And what, just from your understanding, was Mr. Weller's role with respect to the township? John
Weller is the most intelligent person I've ever worked for and has worked for this township in good faith for so long, and is a wealth of technical information, most ethical man of integrity that I know. And so I do rely on him certainly for direction, things I might miss, technical information, all kinds of things, yes.
And has Mr. Weller worked for the township for a longer period of time than you?
Oh, yes, a much longer period of time. I think we're talking 20 to 25 years, if I remember.
Okay. Gonna direct your attention now to what's been marked as Nardone Exhibit 5. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And what is this document?
These are the meeting minutes from, sorry, I'm just getting the November 18th, correct.
And where did you obtain this document?
These are public meeting minutes that are posted to the township website.
In your review of this document, does it appear to be an accurate copy of the minutes that you obtained from the publicly available website?
Yes, it does.
We'll offer this as Nardone Exhibit 5. So it appears, again, this relates to a meeting on November 18th of 2025 of the Planning Commission, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And there's a highlighted block that I'm going to read into the record. Supervisor Brian Dunn, well, let me just begin. It says Supervisor Brian Dunn responded. Prior to that, there's some entries in here regarding a comment you made about some of the accusations that have been made against you, correct?
Correct. I participated in that meeting as not on the Planning Commission because of the series of events, but made a public statement at the meeting, so.
Understood. So the highlighted block reads, Supervisor Brian Dunn responded, stating that the Planning Commission is an advisory board to the Board of Supervisors. And while the board appreciates Ms. Nardone's prior service, her actions in meeting independently with the developer's consultant without the other commission members in attendance constituted a conflict of interest and was not acceptable. Supervisor Kumbarder added that Ms. Nardone met off-site with the developer's consultant on 2 occasions, adding that she was told after the first occasion that this was not acceptable, but she continued to meet independently a second time. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Is this minute entry an accurate summary to your recollection of the comments that the supervisors made?
Yes, it is.
To be clear, did you meet off-site with developers consultants on 2 occasions?
I did not.
Were you told after an initial meeting with the developers that meeting with them was not acceptable by any of these supervisors or anyone else? And did you continue to meet independently a second time after a warning?
No, I did not.
And now direct your attention to what is marked as Nardone Exhibit 6. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
And what is this document?
This is meeting minutes from a planning commission meeting on December the 2nd.
And how did you obtain this document?
From the township website, publicly posted.
And in your review of what is contained in our exhibits this morning, does this appear to be an accurate copy of those meeting minutes?
I do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to read well, first I'll offer that as Nardone Exhibit 6. And there's a highlighted quote again that I've highlighted for today's hearing under the section Review of Meeting Minutes. Begins Dan Cody, who I'll note in the highlighted box above is identified as a member of the Planning Commission. Dan Cody commented that he has read the township's rationale for the removal of Anita Nardone from her position on the Planning Commission and believes that such action is a disservice to the township. He added that he has served on 2 separate commissions with Ms. Nardone and found her to be very knowledgeable and always had the best interest of the township at heart. Mr. Cody offered support for Ms. Nardone should she return to the commission. I'm going to now direct your attention to what has been marked as Nardone Exhibit 7. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
Okay. And is this a letter that you received?
It is a letter that I received via email, correct?
Okay. And what's the date of this letter?
The date of this letter is February 9th, 2026.
Okay. And it is sent from whom?
Mary Frances McGarity, Senior Vice President of Business Development and Location Services for the Chester County Economic Development Council.
Okay. And is this an accurate copy of the letter that you received?
It is.
I'll offer this as Nardone Exhibit 7. And just for the record, what is what is the Chester County Economic Development Council?
Chester County Economic Development Council is an organization that promotes Chester County as an economic place where residents and businesses should thrive. My best description. So.
Understood. Okay, I'm going to read this record. I'll read this letter into the record. It's directed to Ms. Pamela Gurl-Bear, West Whiteland Township, Commerce Drive, subject letter of support, Anita Nardone. Dear Ms. Gurl, I'm writing this letter to express my support for Anita Nardone as she seeks to remain on the West Whiteland Township Planning Commission, helping our community by volunteering her time, talent, and treasure to ensure that our township residents continue to be proud residents of West Whiteland Township. From my perspective as a senior vice president at the Chester County Economic Development Council, I believe her to be a tremendous asset to our community and that she should remain on the Planning Commission. I met Ms. Nardone in 2020 when she was working as a civil engineer for Simone Collins Landscape Architecture. While interacting with her at several regional meetings, it was clear that Ms. Nardone was passionate about sustainable growth and thoughtful community development. When she spoke, her knowledge about environmental regulation, urban planning, and land use was evident. Ms. Nardone was supportive when West Whiteland Township had a longtime Planning Commission member vacate their seat, and the township asked me to fill that opening. While I had the experience of my role with the Economic Development Council and as a commercial real estate broker to lean on, I was not an engineer. There were many occasions when I went to her asking to explain some of the more complex zoning issues that were before us for consideration. I took the role very seriously and wanted to be educated through enough to have a substantive opinion. Ms. Nardone was always patient and willing to help educate me. Her knowledge and expertise in evaluating projects, understanding the various constraints, issues of density and traffic, setbacks, floodplains, and stormwater management was extensive and made her an important member of the commission, as was illustrated in her role as board chairperson of the WWTPC. Municipalities that can engage their community residents to volunteer to use their professional education and experience in service roles, like the Planning Commission, lead the county with developing the appropriate infrastructure and building upon that infrastructure to attract residential, commercial, and industrial growth. There are any number of municipalities in Chester County that would be overjoyed at the opportunity to add someone of Ms. Nardone's experience and integrity to one of their boards. Ms. Nardone's reputation is above reproach, and she should not be dismissed from her service to West Whiteland Township. Sincerely, Mary Frances McGarity. Ms. Nardone, you've had the opportunity to articulate the series of events that appear to be directly related to the allegations that have been made against you. I want to get your candid expression as to what this means to you in a moment. Before I do that, I do have one follow-up question on Exhibit P6. P6, which again has been identified as an affidavit, states that at some non-specifically dated meeting, Chair Anita Nardone expressed her appreciation for the opportunity to meet with the developers, ARD representatives on site at the mall. Just to be clear, did you ever make a statement that's being represented in this affidavit expressing appreciation to meet with developers on site at the mall?
I did not.
Okay. Do you recall making a statement about being appreciative of the opportunity to meet with developers?
Absolutely. I expressed my appreciation for the work that both the staff and the development team made in making this the best application and plan that they could present. I always express appreciation for that at all my meetings, and I think that that's pretty well documented.
And so to the extent this affidavit relates to something, it actually, or the comments in here relate to something you believe that you made you expressed a statement of appreciation about meeting with the representatives, developers, and that was in reference to the April 9th meeting?
As I read this for the first time this morning, I believe that that must be what they are speaking of. That is the only time that I met with members of the development team outside of being in this room for Planning Commission meetings.
Okay. Ms. Nardone, as I alluded to before, and however you care to express it, what has your service to the township meant, and what has this notice of removal and the proceeding that you're now being forced to attend and request mean to you?
Quite honestly, I'm baffled that I'd be sitting here this morning explaining my actions before this room, before all of you, after professional career that has no blemish, after whatever it's been, 5, 6 years of service to this community, which is incredibly important to me. I just find it baffling that I'm sitting here to try to justify, whereas the basic intent of me volunteering for this township has always been evident, the betterment, the best possible community that we can live in. So while I sincerely tell all of you that I appreciate public service, all the things that you do, and respect all of it, I am concerned that the events of the past 3 to 4 months would bring us to a point where we, are questioning things that are truly of importance to me. Integrity, service, lots of service, good, educated, technical advice to make this the best community you can live in. So I'm baffled, I'm surprised, I'm disheartened, and it has been an incredible source of physical and emotional pain for me over the past 3 or 4 months. And so my only hope is that the township would consider a change of course. Things are not going well when we come to this type of a situation where I'm being questioned about my intent to serve. And that's all I'll say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nardone. I would like to call another witness, but prior to doing that, I don't know if Mr. Baumler or anyone else has questions for Ms. Nardone.
Do you want to reserve your questions for after this witness, or do you guys just want to?
Yeah, we can reserve them for after the witness.
Call your next witness.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we would call Andrew Wright.
Oh, sure.
Would you state your name for the record, sir?
Andrew Wright.
And
Andrew, A-N-D-R-E-W, Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T.
And Mr. Wright, have you ever had any role with the Township Planning Commission?
I have.
And what role was that?
I was a member of the Planning Commission 2012 to 2018, and then 2021 to 2025.
Okay, were you at some point the chair of the commission as well?
Yes.
Okay. So in some sense, you occupied a very similar position, actually the identical position of Ms. Nardone, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You've heard some testimony today about Ms. Nardone being asked to attend a meeting with some developers at the township building with township representatives, and that she inquired with Mr. John Weller whether it was appropriate to do so, and Mr. John Weller confirmed for her that he believed it was okay for her to attend. Do you recall that testimony?
I do.
Based on your experience serving the commission for quite a number of years and as a chair of the Planning Commission, were you in a similar situation under those facts where there was a meeting at the township with developers that you sought the advice of Mr. Weller on and he gave his blessing to attend? Would you feel that it was appropriate for you to attend that meeting?
If it was blessed by the Board of Supervisors, if it was blessed by the staff, then that time, yes.
Okay. And as we noted in the record, one of the Board of Supervisors attended that meeting. So assuming that there was someone from the supervisors attending that meeting, would you feel comfortable attending it?
Yes.
Okay. You also heard Ms. Nardone give some testimony about Mr. Weller's service to the township, describing him as a wealth of knowledge and many other forms of glowing praise. Did you also rely on Mr. Weller in the course of your role on the Planning Commission?
I did.
And what's your opinion of Mr. Weller in terms of his knowledge and role with the commission?
A qualified staff member.
Thank you. While you were serving on the Planning Commission and in the role as chair, were you aware, or as you sit here today, are you aware of any codes of conduct or written rules or regulations that would have prohibited you were attending the meeting I just described to you?
I cannot recall if there was a specific code of conduct when I was sworn in Planning Commission. The only code of conduct that I would go by is as a certified planner with the American Institute of Certified Planners.
So if I'm understanding to your answer, you have no recollection of any specific code of conduct that would have prohibited your attendance at that meeting as a chair of the Planning Commission?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No additional questions for Mr. Wright? Anything?
Sure.
Do you have any other witnesses, or?
I have a question to Andy.
Yeah. Okay.
You said that the meeting should be blessed by the supervisor. Do you know the meeting that was between Adrian where Brian was there, was it blessed by the supervisors as a commission, board members?
Not to my knowledge.
Any further?
Questions for this specific witness?
No.
I would also like to request to call Mr. Weller as a witness.
I do.
Can you state your name for the record, sir?
My name is John Weller.
And what's your role with the township?
I am the Director of Planning and Zoning and the Zoning Officer for the township.
And very in summary fashion, could you just describe what your responsibilities are for the township?
My principal function is the administration of the land development review and approval process.
Okay. You heard some testimony this morning and saw some, or heard reference to some written communications produced during this hearing from Ms. Nardone that involved yourself. Do you agree that the written communications produced during this hearing by Ms. Nardone are an accurate reflection of your communications with her?
I do.
Okay. And to confirm, you did communicate to Ms. Nardone that her attendance of the April 9th meeting was okay, correct?
That is correct.
Why did you feel it was okay?
I did consult with my supervisor, the township manager. It was a situation where I knew one of the supervisors would be in attendance. There was neither a quorum of the board nor of the Planning Commission in attendance. It was an informal discussion. There will be no formal action of any kind taken. It was essentially preparatory to what would later be a public meeting where the developer was going to be, presenting their plans to the public in the public setting.
And to flesh out your answer a bit, you mentioned that there was no quorum present. The fact that there was no quorum present indicates that this was not a meeting that was required to be noticed under the Sunshine Act, correct?
That is correct. That is my understanding, yes.
Thank you. And did you feel that Ms. Nardone contributed thoughtfully during this meeting?
Oh, yes.
Now, during this meeting, you had mentioned, in your answer just a moment ago, you confirmed that you checked with your supervisor about Ms. Nardone's attendance. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
And who was your supervisor?
Pam Garrell-Bear, the township manager.
Ms. Garrell-Bear is the individual who sent Ms. Nardone the notice of removal, correct?
Yes.
During the course of this meeting, did anyone indicate that Ms. Nardone's attendance at the meeting was inappropriate?
No one made any such indication.
Thank you. As you sit here today, do you have any firsthand knowledge of Ms. Nardone engaging in any conduct as it relates to this sequence of events we're addressing today that you would consider unethical?
No, I do not recall any action by Ms. Nardone that I would consider unethical.
Would you agree with me that she did not engage in any conduct that you believe was against the interests of the township?
I firmly believe that anything Anita would have done in regard to her position would be fully in the interest of the township.
Okay. To your knowledge, you have no knowledge of Ms. Nardone attending a second meeting with Abrams representatives, is that right?
That is correct.
You have no knowledge of Ms. Nardone disregarding your advice in July not to talk with Mr. Kaplan further, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
There's a few statements in this notice of removal that independent engagement with developers or their consultants outside publicly noticed meetings not only compromises the transparency required of advisory bodies, but may also create the appearance of preferential access or influence. In the normal course of business, given your knowledge, your long-time service with the township, do township officials engage with developers or their consultants outside publicly noticed meetings?
No, not typically.
Okay, so it happened in this instance, is that right?
That means she did engage?
Well, I'm not speaking to Ms. Nardone's role specifically. I'm saying in the course of business for the township well, let me back that up. In your role with the township, do you communicate with developers outside of the public process?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And in this particular instance, Ms. Nardone gave some testimony about the nature of the project at issue, the redevelopment of Exton Square Mall. What's your perspective on how significant of a project that is?
I would agree with Ms. Nardone's characterization. It is probably the most significant development project we will have in this generation.
Okay. As part of your role as a director of zoning and development, do you ever provide guidance or advice to other township officials on those topics?
That is part of my job, yes.
And does that include members of the Board of Supervisors?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there was a meeting more recently, I believe it was sometime in late January or February of this year, after the events we're talking about. And my understanding is that the topic of a code of conduct for the Planning Commission was discussed. Do you have any recollection of that?
There was one of the Planning Commission members expressed at a Planning Commission meeting that it would be useful to have a written code of conduct for Planning Commission members.
Do you believe that was in relation to the events surrounding Ms. Nardone?
I do, yes.
What would be the benefit of having a code of conduct?
I think my understanding is that there was concern that, Ms. Nardone is held in high esteem by the other members of the Planning Commission. There was concern that, that she would be acting in the interest of the township, but if she had in fact erred in some way, it would be helpful for the other Planning Commission members, and for that matter, other boards and commissions of the township, to know, what are the standards, what is the line that ought not to be crossed, so that this would not happen in the future.
Right, because without a code of conduct, it's a little difficult to know precisely what that line is, right?
It is, yes.
And sometimes,
if I may comment, it's been said that there is no code of conduct that is provided to board and commission members, and that is correct. However, when new members are appointed to either the Planning Commission or the Zoning Hearing Board, which are under my purview, I will have an individual interview with those members, at which time I do provide them with a little check sheet that says, here are the duties of your membership, and do advise them that to have these outside meetings, that the ex parte communication is something that ought not to be done.
Okay. But notwithstanding that, you felt that in this particular instance it was okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any additional questions, subject to any follow-up for Mr. Weller.
What were you asking, Councilor?
I'm sorry, I was just saying I don't have any additional questions for Mr. Weller, subject to anyone else.
Sure.
Questions?
Board members, any questions for Mr. Weller particularly?
Not at this time.
I have. When you say the meeting between the developer where Brian was there and it was blessed by the supervisors that Anita should attend, which supervisor was that?
It was Mr. Dunn.
I don't remember you knowing she was going to attend.
I didn't know she was going to attend. In fact, just to make a statement, when I saw that she was there, I was asking why she was there. And the reason she didn't go to the next meeting was because I said it was unethical and it shouldn't be. Just to put that on record.
Yeah.
That was not stated at the meeting.
Whatever was stated, that was the truth. And that's what happened.
And we remember having this discussion in an executive session with our lawyers and Pam, that it's inappropriate for you to attend, you should not attend. You've notified you are not happy about it.
Right.
Not able to attend the next follow-up meeting. There were other few meetings that Brian had with the developer, looking over the plan.
I have a question for you, John. Having served on the zoning hearing board, if a case was before me or coming up and someone who was bringing the applicant was sending me emails, had my personal email address and was sending me emails, what would your opinion be of that?
My opinion would be that be inappropriate. I would probably thank you for the information, for telling me that. And I would probably then myself contact that individual and advise them it was not appropriate to be contacting a zoning hearing board member outside of the meeting. It is, I know this is perhaps a bit of a digression, but particularly with the zoning hearing board, I have always advised both zoning hearing board members and applicants that any communication needs to come through me as the zoning officer.
Do you feel the same way about the Planning Commission?
Although the Planning Commission is perhaps less, I'll say, circumscribed by the municipality's planning code, I do, and I think by and large, most of our applicants respect that. They will, as has been mentioned, they will frequently contact me regarding certain issues. But yes, it would be inappropriate to reach out directly to a Planning Commission member regarding a concern as it is outside the public view. Yeah.
Thank you.
May I just follow up on that? So, Mr. Weller, just to be clear, in the sequence of communications that you're aware of between Ms. Nardone and the representatives of Abrams, and appears primarily Mr. Kaplan, those communications, to your knowledge, were initiated by Mr. Kaplan, correct?
That is my understanding, yes.
Okay, and Ms. Nardone inquired with you about those communications and put you on notice of them, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, do you have any recollection of communicating with Mr. Kaplan to refrain from communicating with Ms. Nardone?
I do. I could not specify a specific date. It was probably in response to the one particular meeting that's already, or call, I should say, that's already been mentioned, where Anita asked, should she respond? We advised her not to. To the best of my knowledge, she didn't. It's sort of interesting. You read the transcript, I believe it was from a text message where I said something about the light on my phone flashing. That was, in fact, Mr. Kaplan calling me on the same issue. And then my recollection is, at that time, I advised that, he ought not to be contacting any member of the Planning Commission directly.
And there's been no evidence whatsoever of any communications with Ms. Nardone following that exchange today, have there?
But to the best of my knowledge, that's correct.
And there's been no evidence presented other than this affidavit, which appears, according to Ms. Nardone, to misrepresent her comment, that she ever actually, even if she was warned by Mr. Dunn or Mr. Kumbarder, followed up and actually had a second meeting with respect to the developers, correct?
To my knowledge, she never did, yes.
Thank you. I have no additional questions.
Any other witnesses, or are we going to move into board questions for Ms. Nardone at this time?
Yeah, we can go into deliberation. I guess we can have a motion to.
Well, let's just be clear. Do you have any other witnesses that you want to present?
I do not have any other witnesses.
Okay. So at this point, procedurally, this is your opportunity to ask any questions that you have of Ms. Nardone, or to recall the other witnesses presented before you adjourn into deliberation, if you so desire to do so.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Raj?
Yeah. On July 23rd, the text message that you have said, asking for little guidance whether I can call him back, trying to be careful, and a big smiley face. Why was that a big smiley face? Was this like a joke or?
Oh, smiley face emoji. I wanted, we have a friendly relationship. I understood the importance of being above reproach, trying to be careful with my kind of humorous way of saying, I understand that this could be a bad thing and I would like this direction.
Okay. And after this, then John says you should not be. This statement, sworn statement about meeting representative, I believe that's later on in like August, September, October timeframe, right? So that's like after that, you're thanking them for meeting maybe 6 months down the line?
I believe that I was thanking people at a planning commission meeting. I have no recollection of what this is talking about. It's vague, it's not specific, and I thank people and at the planning commission that we had additional time. So I believe that this statement may have been made by me in the context of the planning commission.
It says representing on site at the mall.
I've
That
never
was your
met
statement.
anyone from the developers team or other commission members on site at the mall.
That's your statement on that planning commission meeting.
Correct. It's, again, there's not a lot of specifics, but I state categorically that I was never on site at the mall with the developers team.
You have email exchanges about meeting with other members on the site, specifically the Chester County Planning Commission, that on the site, right?
Correct.
And you're saying you didn't meet anyone on the site?
I can give perspective to
Well, I mean, I think her testimony
Right.
speaks for itself as to who was
Yeah.
present during that meeting. She already testified to that.
a car where we drove around the Exton Square Mall with Matt Edmond and Mary Frances McGarity.
Okay.
Did you try to solicit Mary Frances for grant money to help with the mall project?
So to expand a bit on that, Mary Frances and I served, of course, on the Planning Commission. I certainly know what her role is in the Economic Development Council. This project and the scope of it and the impact to the township, incredible challenges, technically, all kinds of ways, but also great opportunity. My interest in serving the township goes to the point with my technical knowledge of knowing that grant opportunities and partnerships with other entities bringing money to the township go a long way in conjunction with developers' activities. You
Right.
get
But
1 + 1 = 3.
But not to
My
interrupt,
interest
yeah.
was
Yeah, not to interrupt, I was just asking a simple question.
Say it again, I'm
Did
sorry,
you-
Brian.
Did you go with Mary Frances or solicit with Mary Frances to get a grant for
No,
the
I did
mall
not.
project?
No,
You didn't get involved in that in any way,
not at
shape, or
all,
form?
none.
Any further questions from the board?
First of all, I'm not surprised to see that you have a large amount of people here to support you, because I've sat on that side and I've watched you run the meetings, and you're talented, you're smart, and you always ran the meetings in a positive manner. As somebody who was not serving on the board and was not part of your dismissal, I've been reading everything I can and trying to get a grasp. And I think that it's not so much that it's the appearance of the builder, the architect, having your personal email and contacting you and wanting you to be involved with them. They obviously find you to be an ally to them, which isn't necessarily a negative thing, but I guess what bothered me was in one of your things you said, now that it's been approved, we can, start with these things, and I'll meet with Matt, is his name Matt? I'm sorry, at Matt Edmonds. And the Board of Supervisors hadn't even voted yet, and it feels to me somewhat like the Board of Supervisors were undermined, that the decision had already been made by the Planning Commission and it was all systems go. And that's just my perception from the things that I've read and not having seen all of everything that went on.
I'd like to respond that you don't quite have the timing of that.
Okay.
Would be correct. The master plan at the time regarding this meeting with Matt Edmond had not been acted on.
So that meeting with Matt was in September, and the board voted in October.
I misspoke, okay.
Yeah, the board voted in the meeting with Matt took place in September, and the board didn't vote until October.
Correct.
And I guess looking at Matt's role, he obviously is a friend, a longtime friend of yours, but he also has some say in what goes on in the county. And then the thing that maybe I'm not all clear on is the grants that were being applied for to tear down the garage, and that would include Mary Frances, and it seemed like there was, some coordination going on. Now that it's green lighted, let's get going on this, and that's how it appears to me.
Before you respond, as a point of clarity, is there something specific you're referring to in these documents where she said the plan has been approved? I do see an entry that I just want to make sure I know what you're referring to. This is in the T5 exhibit in the email. I wanted to let you know about that. Mary Frances McGarity reached out to me. She has had meetings with Peter Abrams, and at the latter meeting after the MP approval, Peter wanted MF.
The MP approval, yeah.
That's right, okay.
Exhibit T5, yeah.
That's what you're referring to?
Yeah.
I just want to understand that.
Right,
Yeah.
that's correct, you're right.
When it actually hadn't been approved by this Board of Supervisors, and
Right,
It
only
doesn't
by
state
the
that it was
Planning
approved
Commission.
by the Board of Supervisors. It says
No.
MP approval. Does the Planning Commission approve when it votes on these? I mean, they make a recommendation. Okay. So,
and that's just it. It was a recommendation from the Planning Commission, but it's coming across as if it's been approved, and it hadn't been approved. And I know that's, I just feel like it does undermine the authority of the Board of Supervisors, and that's my takeaway.
This is a communication with John Weller, right, that you're referring to?
I don't know. I'd have to.
So it's a communication with John Weller. So John Weller was very much aware of what the status of the project was at that point, right? I mean,
Correct.
there's no, I think based on his testimony, it's inconceivable that he wouldn't have been. So a communication internally to the person who clearly knows the status of the project about approval. There's no record, there's no evidence that's been presented today that Ms. Nardone communicated externally to the developer or anyone else that it was approved, right? That
And
you know
I'm not saying that she did. I'm saying the meeting with Matt Edmonds and the communications with McGarity and the stuff that I was informed about, the grants that were being discussed.
And just for clarity, because I think you're making an important distinction about this process. Ms. Nardone, are you aware of any instance where the Planning Commission has recommended approval of a project that it was rejected during your tenure?
Yeah.
I'm asking Ms. Nardone.
In my first term, there was no project in my recollection where the Planning Commission made recommendations to the supervisors to approve it, and they did not. And in my second term, year and a half, until this Exton Square Mall redevelopment, there was no project that we made recommendation for approval to the supervisors. That was not.
Okay, so to your recollection, having the perspective that you would have thought it was going to be approved seemed reasonable at the time?
I guess I did, yeah. My term MP approval meant Planning Commission had voted to recommend approval, correct?
Follow-up questions?
Oh, any more questions?
I think we're okay with the questions now.
Okay. I'm assuming, Counselor, you want to move your exhibits into the record officially?
Yes, I would move for Nardone Exhibits 1 through 7 into the record.
Okay, we'll move those in officially. At this point, do we want to motion and close the hearing, or does the board desire to enter into deliberation before you do so?
I might just be given the opportunity to just make sort of a closing summation.
Sure.
Appreciate we're all here. And I hope that Ms. Nardone has presented today, what she's presented today has provided a clear picture of the events that preceded her, this notice of removal, in addition to her commitment to service of this township and the support that she has from the community. You know, the evidence, and that's important in a hearing, the evidence that was presented today plainly shows that Ms. Nardone's interactions with these representatives from Abrams were on a handful of occasions initiated by the developers, not her. On no occasion is there evidence of her reaching out to them. It was only in response to inquiries she received that she engaged in only one meeting, only with the express approval with the Township Director of Planning and Zoning that had other township representatives there, including a member of the Board of Supervisors in the township building. She never had any kind of conflict of interest. No conflict of interest was ever brought up to her. I heard Mr. Dunn's comment earlier, and I believe Mr. Kuhnbarder made comments about the idea that it was communicated to her that she, that you believed it was inappropriate. She did not have any recollection of that comment, but even if you did make those comments, it wasn't before the meeting. There was nothing telling her don't come to the meeting. She was already invited to the meeting, given the blessing, and attended. And she didn't attend any other meetings after that. There's no evidence whatsoever that's been credibly presented today that she met with the developers a second time or ever off-site. What's been presented today is that she attended a meeting that she was invited to with township representatives in a building. And ultimately, nothing about any evidence presented today shows any intent or any actual actions on her part that shows that she acted wrongfully or against the township's interests. To the contrary, everything that's been presented today indicates that she was acting in good faith, cautiously, seeking the advice of maybe the most learned person about the township's code in this room about what she should do. She got his advice. She followed his advice. When he said she should go, she went. When he said don't communicate, she didn't. The allegations made against Ms. Nardone in the November 18th Planning Commission about meeting off-site that we've already covered, they're not true. Prior to the sequence of events, Ms. Nardone testified credibly, and Mr. Wright, I think, offered testimony in support that this is a volunteer role. She came on. There wasn't a lot of formal training. There's really no formal training. There was no existing code of conduct, something that's apparently been raised as a current concern after these events, which certainly highlights the fact that there was very little guidance about what a precise line may be or not be, and that, as Mr. Wright put it, would be reasonable for him, and that he actually did rely on Mr. Weller's wealth of knowledge, just the same as Ms. Nardone did. So now you have two planning commissions chairs who support basically the same course of action. I would also note that when we look at the actual code and law on the powers and duties for the Planning Commission, one of the statements in that load, Chapter 53 of the Township Code, sets forth in Section 53-6, powers and duties. The Planning Commission shall have the power and shall be required to promote public interest in and the understanding of the comprehensive plan and planning. Shall be required to. One could sit and read that provision and think, I have to attend this meeting. I'm required to promote public interest in the planning code. In fact, if the situation was reversed, she declined to attend that meeting when Mr. Weller said, yes, I think you should, that might give you a basis to come in here and say, you violated that rule. The fact is, there are no express policies or procedures that prohibited what she did. There's no code of conduct that prohibited what she did. She didn't do anything along the lines of what she's been accused of, which was disregarding a directive of the Board of Supervisors to meet off-site a second time. It didn't happen. Now, if there's a concern over conflict, if the concern over the conflict is that attendance of a meetings with a developer by one member of a township body exposes them to the appearance of impropriety, that they might be subject to an undue influence. And I believe that was the comment Mr. Dunn made in the November 18th meeting. In fact, let me just pull that up. Supervisor Brian Dunn responded, stating that the Planning Commission is an advisory board of the Board of Supervisors. Beyond that, her actions in meeting independently with the developer's consultant without the other commission members in attendance constitute a conflict of interest. So I would be remiss if I didn't point out the meeting that took place, if the concern is about the appearance of impropriety, someone being subject to influence because the entire body's not there. Mr. Dunn attended this meeting without the presence of the other supervisors. And certainly as a member of the Board of Supervisors, he holds more influence over this application and this process than Ms. Nardone does. And I'm not suggesting at all that it was inappropriate for Mr. Dunn to attend this meeting. He was supposed to attend the meeting. He was carrying out the interests of the township in doing it. What I'm suggesting is that it was Ms. Nardone's same intent, and it was the exact same thing that she was doing. And certainly Mr. Dunn was not subject to undue influence, nor was Ms. Nardone. She engaged in no, and let's think about the standard here, malfeasance, nonfeasance, or just cause. Where's the malfeasance? What did she knowingly do wrong? Where's the nonfeasance? She didn't fail to act. And where's the just cause? Someone who volunteered her time, her energy, her expertise for years to the point that she was elected chair for that service. And she gets contacted a few times by a developer. She seeks guidance on it, and she follows the directions given by Mr. Weller to a T. Removing her from this role is unfair, it's harmful to the Township Planning Commission and the township generally, as is evidenced by the wealth of folks in the audience here today. It's highly distressing to her personally and professionally, and it creates a dangerous precedent for anyone else on the Planning Commission, which they clearly are now cognizant of, given the issue of now wanting a code of conduct. For all of those reasons, we respectfully request that your vote be against the removal of Ms. Nardone. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Counselor. At this time, a motion and a second to close the evidentiary hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the evidentiary hearing.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We are now closed. Does the board desire to enter into deliberation at this time?
Yeah, I'd like to enter deliberation for a few minutes, take a break, and we'll be right back. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Oh, you should definitely have been there. Yeah. They didn't sue. Yeah, yeah.
I was asking about this.
Okay, I'd like to continue the meeting. Everyone? Should we make a motion to continue this meeting, or is that okay to just,
I mean, at this point, you have a couple of options, right? You can make a motion to continue. Well, I mean, the evidentiary record is closed at this point, so I fail to see why continue it. If you need more time to deliberate on your decision, you can make a motion to continue it to a future meeting date that will be advertised, and then you convene as a board to render your decision, or you can make a motion right now for as to how you're going to vote on the matter and render your decision.
okay. All right, so I would like to make a statement, like first, before we go to make a motion to,
I would
Make a
recommend that you make
decision.
the motion, whichever way you're making this motion.
And then,
Achieve a second on that motion, and then
that's fine.
during discussion, then you can make your statement.
Okay. All right, can we have a motion regarding the proposed removal of Anita Nardone?
okay, I'll make a motion. I move that Board of Supervisors remove Anita Nardone from the position of Planning Commission member pursuant to Section 206 of Pennsylvania Municipal Planning Code, PS 53-10206, based upon the finding of malfeasance, misinformation, non-conforming office, and other just cause as the support of the record development during the hearing held in February 13, 2026, as the board directed the solicitor to prepare a written decision setting forth the finding, support this action.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right. I would like to make a statement, just the fact that the developers for the Exton Mall and all the associates are here in support of Anita just concerns, just that alone, just is very concerning. And, you know, after that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Sorry.